I'd like to welcome our next guests for this evening, Jen and Jeanette, from the Paranormal Investigative Team. And what is the name again? You are Sydney.
Sydney Investigation Ghost Tours.
It's amazing, guys. Welcome to our show.
Oh, thank you for
Thank you
having
so
us.
much for your
So tell me, Jeanette, we believe that this goes a long way back for you. This
Yes.
started at a very early age.
Yes, when I was 5, and then a lot of things happened between then and when I was 9, and then it just followed.
It followed from
Yeah.
there. So what would be maybe an example of a typical experience you would have when you were younger?
Yes, well, we lived in New Zealand for a year. That's the family, mum and dad and myself. And I actually saw my mother's cousin. Yeah, and it was, I don't know what time it was in the middle of the night, but yeah, and I said, look, Mum, that gentleman who came over to visit us the other day, he came over, he tried to speak through the window. Because like in New Zealand, in the olden days, they had like the windows that go out, you know, the windy ones. Yeah. And I remember him very well because he actually helped me, because I threw up an Elvis Presley record and it broke, and Mum was going to rouse on me, and he said, no, don't, you know. So I really liked him.
And that was when you were so young.
Yeah, I was 5. And then that night when he visited me was when he passed away. Yeah, so at that time. So that's why he came through me to get through to Mum. And in my mum's family, they think that a lot of spirits come through me.
Yes,
You
you're
know.
like a conduit.
Which one of you ladies is the writer? So you write books as well?
Yes, yes.
And is it, what are the books about?
They're all spiritual, all about hauntings, and that's my forte now. I started when I was 9, and I've had a lot of things published, you know, but it wasn't, it was all like not to do with spirits.
Yes.
You know, it wasn't really safe. And yeah, but that's definitely my forte.
That's
That
brilliant.
started a couple of years ago.
And Jen, we believe that you run Sydney Investigation Ghost Tours to give people an experience with spirit.
That's correct, yes.
So they get this opportunity to firsthand have an experience that for the rest of their lives they probably never will.
Oh, exactly. We love it. We take out a small group of people when we do our tours, and we take them to places where we have gone to time and time again, so the spirits know us there, and they know that we're not going to be malicious or do them any harm or anything like that. There's spirits that we've communicated with quite frequently too, so we bring the people in and we sort of show them how they can, using some equipment,
Yes.
actually chat with spirit themselves.
And so what are some of the things that happen, say, in an investigative
Investigative.
in an investigation that a layperson who's never experienced anything with the other side before would experience? Maybe they see orbs, or would they?
Oh yes, lots of people take lots of photos of orbs, but we let them know as well that as much as there are spirit orbs, there are also orb photos that you take that would be humidity.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or anything like that. So
But-
you really need to.
We
look at
got
the
an awesome
difference.
one and picked them, didn't we?
Yes,
Yes,
we did.
And we got a massive one because I used to work with them as a medium and come on the tours with them. And we were in Picton Cemetery.
Yeah.
Which apparently
I
is
think too.
renowned
It's
for being
really
one of the most
busy.
haunted
It's
places.
busy.
I love that.
Yeah. And we
Yeah.
got some amazing photographs.
I love how
Great
you call it
ones.
busy.
Yeah,
I
busy.
call it haunted, and these girls just call it, you know, it's busy. It's like Pitt Street Saturday night.
And even Indigenous.
Yeah.
Quite Indigenous.
On the screen there, we've got there's quite a significant orb there that was on the left, and
Yes.
we're just there. It is there. So, what is that very bright white light that's on the screen there?
the left.
Is that an orb?
It is, I believe, an orb.
Yes.
That was taken at, it's in the Hawkesbury. I have asked several different medium friends to say what they can see in it, because I don't know. I know we had a lot of spirit activity happening at that particular cemetery. But I can't tell you who it was. I'm not a medium, so I can't tell that sort of information.
And that's where it's great, where the investigator meets the medium.
That's
and you can
correct.
come
That's
together.
right. Yeah.
And you know, you can dig up the evidence,
Yes.
and you can go for the empirical, which is what people are always looking for. So, having said that, I would imagine you would get the odd skeptic on a tour,
Lots of skeptics.
Yes.
which would be great to debunk them as well. Wouldn't it? That'd be a bit of fun.
We love them. We welcome them.
That's
How do they
awesome.
come away
So-
from the tour? Are they more enlightened or
They are,
educated?
and we've actually had quite a few skeptics that have come back time and time again, because we get them to use some of our technology, and they'll get all these readings on the technology,
Yes.
and they sort of think, well, what is that? So we've had them come time and time again.
Yes.
Now, you've got a public book launch coming up.
Yes, we should.
Yes.
Now, that is going to be at Australia's Haunted History in Campbelltown's Town Hall, 8th of April, from 5:30pm to 9:30pm. So that's a haunted venue, isn't
Yes,
it?
Sure
very
is.
much so.
Oh, my
Yes,
goodness.
Yes,
So
very
tell me a little
much.
bit about this.
Yeah, well, we frequent the Town Hall Theatre, and we have a lot of communication with Fred Fisher and his murderer, George Worrell.
Fred Fisher was Australia's first spirit that was written about.
Yeah.
And what sort of communications, I have to ask, I can't help, but what sort of communications do you mind telling us that you may have had?
Well, with our medium friends who come along with us, and we use various equipment, dowsing rods, K2s, everything. And
EMF is the
EMF
Yes,
meter,
yes.
yes. And so quite often, George spends a lot of time, and we have a rapport with him.
George Worrell is the gentleman
He's
who
very nice,
murdered Fred Fisher.
yes.
And George
That's an
Worrell was
interesting
hung.
piece of the story. He's a lovely man who murdered Fred.
You see,
But he's come...
the thing is, he really is. And you know how people
Yeah.
judge and say, oh, look, you know, Fred was murdered and all this. They don't know the full story. And after, you know, we've kept a lot secret because
Yes.
out of respect for both
Yes.
Fred and George, you know, and George, he likes a few drinkies. And yeah, so his personality, he's very jovial, and he's extremely tidy and in his appearance. And Fred doesn't look like the Fred that they've made him look.
Which is so
look
often the
like.
case, isn't it? I mean, there's always two sides to every story. And
Yes.
so often only one gets portrayed.
Yes.
You know, whichever the popular story is at the time, or whatever the public vote is or leads towards. I'm sure there's been a lot of people hung in their day that were completely innocent victims, or they may have done something wrong, but there could be a reason for it. So it's interesting that you've been able to unearth information about them. And have you ever had a physical apparition? Have you ever seen like a
Yes,
physical
we have.
manifestation?
We have.
You have?
It's
Wow.
Yes.
I feel like there's more to be given away here.
Yes, very much so. And part of it's in the book because we don't want to, you know, encourage any negative. You know, they can come back.
Okay, I'm really good at that, information being kept for the book. So if you want to read about it, I would read about it by the book,
Yes.
and we'll Move right along
there
now.
are certain things that we don't want to give more energy to in
Yes,
case it
that's
makes
right.
them stronger again. So
Yeah.
we've had quite some experiences.
Yes.
Now,
Over
this
the
on the
years.
screen, can you just take us through this? This is a kit, and what exactly is in this kit? You go in with, is it electric?
Well, they're all battery operated, these
Right.
ones.
Yeah.
Top left-hand corner, you've got the EM pumps.
Did you design this and have it custom made? Or
No, not at all. No, we...
because it looks pretty professional.
No, we just went into a shop and I thought, that case would come in handy, and then we started plucking out the foam and voila.
Yeah.
Wow. So when you go into a home, you're well equipped. You've got lasers in your hand and things.
Oh yeah, we've got all
Yes,
sorts of
yes.
things. We've got EM pumps there that emit electromagnetic energy, which
Right.
is what spirit can gain extra energy from.
Right.
Underneath that, we've got some laser grids, so that when you set them up on a tripod, you can see if a spirit is walking in between the wall and where your laser grid is. Mm-hmm. Then the green machine there, the geophone, it measures temperature, humidity, it detects vibrations, and EMF. The one next to that with the orange light is the Mel meter. It detects EMF, temperature, and it has this special antenna that you pull out, and it will tell you if anything is coming anywhere near that antenna, whether you can see it or not, because you can actually put your hand near the antenna and it'll start making all sorts of noises.
I've caressed it in front of David. He's our tech manager, and he knew.
The box on top there, that's the latest Ovulus from America. And what an Ovulus is a machine that... I'm not great at technical information because we have a tech manager on our team for that, but it is able to be manipulated by spirit so that words can be said.
Electronic voice phenomena.
Yes. Those ones
That was
there.
very good, Viv. Have you been involved in
We've
this?
done this.
I can't actually. I don't
actually
have my goggles
have,
on, so I can't see.
Yes, I'm quite involved. Sammy and I have been with a paranormal investigative
we
team
have.
some years ago, and I've been witness to it, and it's really something else. So
To come out with us.
I was definitely wanting to put my hand up and do it again. I will say two things. I grew up in a very haunted area, and I love what you've named the book, Australia's Haunted History, because as I was saying last week, the property I grew up on has now been zoned historical, made into a park in Castle Hill, where they had a convict uprising called the Battle of Vinegar Hill, and a lot of convicts were actually murdered. Yes, they were executed on our property. And when my parents first moved there and built the house there, back in the day where it was just farmland, there was a chap called Mr. Banks that was at the time in his 90s, so he'd been there for, around the turn of the century. And he said, you should never, tell your parents you should never have bought that property. The blood of the Irish has been spilt on that. It will never sleep. It will never rest. And I can tell you that when my parents were doing renovations on their home, 3 of the gentlemen working on the property died. Our gardener died on the property, on his bridal mower. There was just a litany of things. But as a young girl, my girlfriend and I would constantly find things on the property that the convicts, where they'd been executed or what have you. And they built an entire museum that's up in Castle Hill based on the property I grew up on. So I constantly heard noises, saw things as a young girl. And so I think that, definitely there's so much history in Australia around the beginnings of our country and our culture and how we all started and born from convicts. And there was so much, there was so much distension then that I think that there's a lot of unrest still that can be found in that. And so, like you said, Campbelltown's Town Hall. You can imagine how much history that's got there.
Town Hall Theatre, oh, it's got a lot of history.
Yeah.
Yes, I definitely want to come along to that.
Well, friends, if you'd like to find out more information, we've got a website here for you, www.sydneyinvestigationghosttours.com.au. I have a feeling you're going to be quite busy. There'll be a few people watching our show that are
Yes.
not necessarily now, because we're just always on the web, so they'll continue to have you locked in there. And look, you're dressed for action as well.
Oh, I know. We didn't even talk about that. It's awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
And what were you saying before is like sometimes they come in disguise, so you like to do the same.
Spirit likes to camouflage themselves sometimes. They don't always like to be seen straight away. So we camouflage ourselves.
I love it. That's fantastic. I reckon all the guys at home need to go on a tour with these guys, because I've been on one and I'll never forget it. Will I, Sammy?
Jen and Jeanette from SydneyInvestigationGhostTours.com.au. Ladies, thank you for coming.
Yes.
Thank you so
lovely
much,
to have you
Steve.
with us. Lovely,
Yeah,
lovely
thank you,
energy
Viv.
too,
Can
by the
I
way.
just add, Sammy is in the book too.
Yes.
I am.
Sammy,
She
So I'll
is.
be at the book launch with the girls on the 8th of April. So we're having a
Carry on
paranormal
as
night,
well.
and Carrie
Yes.
is too. So should be a good night. Should be good fun. So yeah.
Like to find out more information too, you can write to us through our Facebook page, allaboutyouau@gmail.com, and drop a question into our inbox.
And one last thing just before you leave, Eric from the control room, our director, has said that he is just put his hand up to come along on one of the cemetery tours. And for some reason he thinks it
Lovely.
might be a good idea to bring a couple of bottles of red along.
He's bringing his own spirits.
Why not?
He's bringing his own spirits and glasses to capture them in. So fantastic. Yes.
Absolutely.
Awesome, ladies. Lovely to meet you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Lovely to be here.
See you
Get those
soon.
questions into us here at AAY, All About You, AUS on Facebook. We're going to go back